Donald Sterling's spoken out. You've seen the interviews. He's trying to explain himself. But what do you want him to explain to the public, to the fans, to the NBA about his behavior during your cross-examination?
I just want him to face up to the truth. And the truth, if he faces up to it, is going to show that Shelley behaved properly, and he did not. When I say he did not, I've got some very strong feelings about Mr. Sterling's behavior in a number of ways. And hopefully the cross-examination will bring those things out.
Give me an example.
Well, here's a guy who, in writing, authorized Shelley to sell the team. Here's a guy who then said, I am joining in her sale. I'm really happy about it. I join in selling the team. 5 days later, he said, I'm fighting the sale of the team. Why did he do it? According to his lawyer, he did it to restore his dignity. Now, that's just ego. Mr. Ballmer has agreed to pay $2 billion, a fantastic price for this team. It's a great thing for Mr. Sterling's family. If he gives a damn about his family, he'd grab at that. But no, he's more concerned with restoring his ego. And those are his attorney's words. Well, that's the kind of a guy that is a pleasure to cross-examine.
Bert, do you believe that Donald Sterling is mentally competent?
Depends on what you mean. If you mean, can he function as a trustee? He is certainly not competent to function as a trustee. Two very distinguished doctors have examined him and have certified that he is not competent to be a trustee. That doesn't mean he's crazy. It doesn't mean that he should be institutionalized or anything like that. He can function as a human being, but he shouldn't be a trustee of this vastly wealthy trust.
His lawyers
just not right for his family.
His lawyers have suggested those two doctors who examined him are violating doctor-patient privileges. What are you going to say about that when that comes up?
I don't think they'll say that in court, because if they did, they'd be all wet. He specifically waived the doctor-patient privilege when he signed the trust. It explicitly provides for a waiver of that privilege. Otherwise, you couldn't ever examine the trustee to show that he wasn't competent. And that's right there in the trust instrument, which they would like to ignore.
I assume their lawyers, Donald Sterling's lawyers, are getting other doctors to examine him and will come to a different conclusion. I assume you anticipate that.
Of course, if it comes to a trial, we anticipate that. What we have asked the court to do is not to have a trial or to have a very brief one, because the trust instrument says if two professional doctors, specialists in the field, certify that he is incompetent to be a trustee, that's it. He is to be out as a trustee. They have done that. The whole point of putting that provision in the trust, which Donald signed, is to avoid a trial. So you don't have this battle of the experts. And it's embarrassing for Donald. It will be embarrassing for him. It's costly. That's why they put it in the trust. He's trying to get out of that, and he'll try to call people who will say, our doctors are wrong. Well, our doctors are not wrong. They're very, very distinguished people. One of the doctors wrote the actual regulations that are in the code on how you judge competence to be a trustee. They're not going to knock those guys over.